Have you ever wished for a guide to life? A manual that could tell you how to navigate tricky situations, build strong relationships, and find true success? Well, thousands of years ago, a king set out to create just that. This is the story of how one of the wisest books ever written came to be. Our story begins in ancient Israel under the warm Middle Eastern sun. King Solomon, a ruler whose name became synonymous with wisdom, often sat beneath the cool shade of a palm tree. He wasn't just resting, he was observing. He watched the bustling world around him, a tapestry woven with all kinds of people. He saw the wealthy merchant in his fine robes and the poor farmer in his simple tunic. He saw the scholar, head buried in a scroll, and the fool laughing loudly at his own mischief. He saw honest workers toiling from dawn till dusk and deceitful schemers whispering in the shadows. Solomon saw the full spectrum of human nature. He saw joy and sorrow, kindness and cruelty, success and failure, and as he watched, he began to notice patterns. He saw that certain choices consistently led to good outcomes, while others almost always ended in disaster. He realized that wisdom wasn't just some abstract idea, it was a practical skill, a way of living that could be learned and taught. Driven by a desire to share what he was learning, Solomon began to write. He didn't write long, complicated philosophical essays. Instead, he crafted short, powerful sayings, nuggets of truth that were easy to remember and apply to everyday life. These weren't just his own ideas. He believed this wisdom was a gift from God, a way to guide people toward a life of purpose and honor. These collected writings would eventually become known as the Book of Proverbs. One of the core themes Solomon wrote about was the idea of two paths. Imagine you're standing at a crossroads. One path is bright, clear, and leads up a hill toward the sun. The other is dark, overgrown, and descends into a shadowy valley. Solomon described the path of wisdom as the one leading to life, peace, and security. It was the path of righteousness, integrity, and careful choices. But the other path, the path of folly, was the easy, tempting route that led to ruin, regret, and destruction. He urged his people and us to choose wisely, to intentionally walk the path of life. Solomon also understood the immense power of our words. He warned that a reckless tongue can be like a sharp sword, causing deep wounds that are slow to heal. How many times have we been hurt by careless gossip or a harsh criticism? On the other hand, he taught that gentle words have the power to soothe and heal. A kind answer can turn away anger, and an encouraging word can lift a heavy heart. He was essentially telling us that our mouths can be a source of either life or death, and we must learn to control our speech to build others up rather than tear them down. Next, Solomon turned his attention to work ethic. He looked at the ant, a tiny creature, and saw a powerful lesson. The ant works diligently all summer, storing up food for the winter. It doesn't need a boss standing over it. It is self-motivated and responsible. Solomon celebrated this kind of hard work, teaching that diligence leads to prosperity and success. In contrast, he warned against laziness. painting a vivid picture of the sluggard who loves sleep more than work, whose fields become overgrown with weeds, and who ends up in poverty. But he also cautioned against the dark side of ambition, greed. He taught that a relentless pursuit of wealth at any cost leads to anxiety and ultimately proves empty. True richness, he explained, was found in a contented heart and a life of integrity. What makes a life truly good? Solomon identified several key pillars. The first was friendship. He wrote that a true friend sticks closer than a brother, offering support in times of trouble. He valued loyalty and counsel, understanding that we need others to sharpen us and help us grow. Honesty was another pillar. He despised deceitful scales and lying lips, teaching that integrity earns trust and respect, which are far more valuable than any temporary gain from dishonesty. Then there was humility. Solomon saw that pride was a trap. The proud person thinks they know everything and refuses to listen to advice, which inevitably leads to a great fall. Humility, in contrast, is the posture of a learner. It est the recognition that we do not have all the answers and that we can learn from God and from others. This willingness to learn is the very beginning of wisdom. Above all these pillars was the most important foundation of all, the fear of the Lord. Now, this doesn't mean being terrified of God. In Solomon's context, fear meant a deep, reverent awe and respect. It meant understanding that God is the ultimate source of all wisdom, truth, and morality. To fear the Lord was to align one's life with His principles, to live in a way that honors Him. Solomon declared that this reverence was the very starting point of all knowledge and wisdom. Without it, everything else was built on shaky ground. Solomon compared his sayings to seeds. Each short proverb was a tiny seed of wisdom planted in the minds of his people. He hoped that these seeds would take root, grow, and produce a harvest of good choices, strong character, and a flourishing life. He wasn't just giving rules, he was offering a new way to see the world. Think about some of his famous words. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. This is a call to humility and faith, recognizing that our perspective is limited. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. This highlights the importance of community and accountability in our personal growth. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. This is practical advice for de-escalating conflict in our daily interactions. Through these short, memorable teachings, Solomon created a timeless guide for humanity. He taught that wisdom isn't just for kings or scholars, it's for everyone. It's for parents raising children, for young people making their way in the world, for business owners and employees, for friends and neighbors. He showed that true success isn't measured by wealth or status, but by character, integrity, and a life lived in harmony with divine principles. He taught that wisdom is more precious than gold or silver, because while riches can be lost, wisdom becomes a part of who you are. It brings safety because a wise person can foresee danger and avoid it. It brings honor because a person of integrity is respected by their community. And ultimately, it brings a blessed life, a life of peace, purpose, and deep satisfaction. The story of King Solomon and his Proverbs is a reminder that the pursuit of wisdom is one of the most worthwhile journeys we can ever undertake. His ancient words still echo today, offering us guidance, challenging our perspectives, and pointing us toward the path of a truly good life. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story inspiring, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content that explores the timeless wisdom of the ages. We'll see you in the next one.